Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to a fine Saturday afternoon. We've got a fun show planned for you today. We got Mike Oeming and Taki Soma joining us today for a chat, and we've got some art for sale. 28 different pieces. Sometimes even with prelims with them. So it's going to be something a little different, but a lot of powers in this one. So if you're a fan of the book and the stories lines, you're going to really enjoy today's show. But let me bring both Mike and Taki into the chat. Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey guys, how's it going, Bill?
It is. It's going well. It's, how was your Halloween?
Quiet.
Very quiet.
Really?
Yeah.
It always sneaks up on us. Sometimes we'll participate and sometimes we won't. It just depends on how busy you are.
Mm-hmm.
I know where September went. I certainly didn't know where October went. So,
I don't know where this year went.
Yeah.
Really, but we didn't like even give out candy or anything. I don't know. We just worked.
We did get candy for ourselves. I went to the store. I got some Sour Patch Kids.
You got to do that. I did not do that yet. But
That.
it's always those after Halloween sales that are the best, right? There's going to be
Yeah.
like 2 for 1s all over the place. So
The both of us were so busy. It just caught up. I did have fun doing a cover for Dan Brereton's Nocturnals. So that's
cool.
kind of how I spent the Halloween was doing like a Nocturnals cover. I finished inking that for him, and that was a lot of fun to be as Halloween as I could get.
Yeah. What did you do?
I sat at home. I had a show that night, actually, believe it or not. I live in the country. Literally, I've got 5 acres here. Every other neighbor around me has 5 acres. So nobody comes to our house for trick or treating.
Okay.
So Halloween for you is actually scary because you're just out
kind
there
of is,
nowhere.
Yes, we back a national forest and everything. So yeah, it does have a spooky feel around here, kind of all
That's
the time.
awesome.
But yeah, but I do kind of miss it. Not having the neighborhood we lived in Ohio last was fun, right? Because it was an isolated neighborhood that had about 40 houses in the whole development, built in the late 70s. But you had this sense of community there, right? And you knew the kids that were coming up to your door. Here, I don't know, I talk to a neighbor like once a month. I'll see him going out to get the mail or something. So it is different. I miss the holidays, and Halloween was always fun. Literally, every year my family would carve a pumpkin and we would load it into the back of the car, and I would back the car up to the road, right? So the kids didn't have to walk down a long driveway. And it was fun, the neighbors would come by. Yeah. Sometimes they'd have some liquor with them. They'd give me a shot when they'd move on. So it was fun.
I really miss it because where I grew up in Bordentown, it was one of those old in New Jersey. It was one of those old colonial towns. Mm-hmm. So it was like a movie set. Halloween was a big deal. Every house was lit up. A couple of the streets were known for just going crazy. Mm-hmm. And you had a bunch of old infrastructure around from like the 17 and the 1800s. So it was perfect Halloween. So nothing kind of live up to that, and maybe times have just changed. It's just, I don't know, maybe if it's this area or other areas, it just doesn't seem to be as big as it used to be.
Yeah, it's definitely changed. Mr. Redjack in the chat said that he had a wave of kids this year and had to run to the store to get more candy to keep up.
Well, nice.
Yeah, we did that one year, not too long ago.
I think it ebbs and flows because we've had years where we've hardly had any kids, and then others where I think once I had to go and get more candy at one point.
But it was kind of rainy too, so we're just like, eh.
So there's hope for Halloween, You can make it come back.
Back in the day, when I owned that miniature golf course, it closed for the season on October 31st. So what I would do is not only would I buy candy, but I would take all the candy that we had left over, the Starburst packs and you name it. And so the kids loved my house because we were giving away, like 2 or 3 things at a time. So full bags of Skittles. Yeah.
Nice.
These kids were changing their costumes and coming back a second time.
That's awesome. One of my favorite things on I think so on TikTok, there's like a nostalgia channel, and they were just showing a bunch of we're about the same age, so they were showing the costumes in the early 80s and late 70s. They're all the same. You got them in these plastic, packs, and they had a plastic mask and then a plastic flimsy thing, and it was everything from Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard to who wants to dress up as an as that, and Star Wars and janitors, just weird. It was really really neat to kind of look through all of that, and I don't think that company's around anymore, but it definitely brought some memories back.
Yeah, no, that would they need to make those again. I've got a great photo of my brother and I where I'm actually dressed as Superman and he's dressed as like the devil or something, you know. And it's just, but it's those bizarre little, you know, they were kind
Yeah,
of
it's like a smock. It's
flimsy
like a
cloth.
plastic
Yeah,
smock
exactly.
with like a logo on it.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, yeah.
They need to bring those back.
Yeah, yeah, and then the mask would you would just congeal all of your breath inside of it and stuff, and then the plastic would cut into your ears.
Good time.
Good times.
Yeah, quite definitely. Now, speaking of candy and everything, when I popped in here, you've got that Mike and Mike poster
Yeah.
behind you, which you know, I have to everybody. If you want to get on my good side when you come out to OAX in January, bring me a box or boxes, of Mike and
I love
Ike's,
Mike and
and
Ike's.
I will be your friend for the entire show because that is my favorite candy.
Yeah,
But tell me about this poster because I'm gonna be scouring the internet and probably hitting up Midtown to see if I can get one of these.
so I think it was back in, I don't know what the year was, 2004, 2003. I did a signing at Midtown Comics with Mike Mignola. It was after BPRD's and Soul of Venice, and you know Powers was out and stuff. So they made this poster, just a promotional poster, and I don't know how many they made, but I was sure to grab one on the way out. So I posted it, and obviously they did like a Mike and Ike theme, Mike and Mike theme, like the candy, which was clever and cute and stuff, and it's so kind of a one of a kind. You know, maybe Midtown has some in their storage someplace. That would be pretty awesome if there was.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of my favorite things. So yeah, that's I don't like Mike and Ike's that much that I have a thing of it back
But Mike
there.
and Mike's, you know, maybe there's something cool there. No,
Yeah.
that's awesome. I'm very very jealous that you have that. But
Yeah, and then we continue to work together. We'll have to get another poster made for a BPRD. I don't know what candy that would be, but we'll figure it out.
so you're saying that literally that was 20 years ago though that thing was put together.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the likelihood I'm going to get one is very slim, but I'm going to try. I'll definitely try. So
I wouldn't be surprised. They have to have giant storage of all kinds of stuff there. You know, they got a lot of history at that store.
yeah, well, that's where they, you know, they're not going to know where that it's going to be buried in their warehouse somewhere. But I'm going to reach out to them and see if I can get one. But that's cool. But so working with Mike again, right? I mean, how's that been? What have you been doing of late?
A lot. With Mike specifically and with Mignola, when I turned 50, I was like kind of looking back at my whole career and what I did right, what I wish I'd done more of, and like the only thing I wish I'd done more of is more work with Mignola. When I did the BPRD story, like really early on, it was so early on in that BPRD stuff, we didn't know that there was going to be this expanded universe or anything. And so every time I saw a new project, I just thought, oh, that's cool. There's more, you know, like I didn't. And like, as time went by, like eventually I look back and like, you know, 20 years has gone by and I'm like, oh, I only did like 3 Hellboy stuff. And, you know, obviously he's my favorite artist and we're pals. And so I just reached out to them. I was like, look, my future is going to be a lot of a couple of things that I mentioned. And then one of them, I want to be more Hellboy stuff, more Mignola stuff. So we're doing a BPRD story right now called Shadow of the Golden Crane, which Chris Roberson is writing. And then we have something that Mike, Chris, and I have made up. It's partially pre-established, but a lot of this is new. So it's going to be something new in the whole Mignola-verse. And we're excited about doing that. That one's not on the schedule yet. I'm just wrapping up BPRD right now.
Cool. Very nice.
And then we are bringing back Powers at Dark Horse.
Not with Mignola.
Not with Mignola. That is Bendis and I. We're not going back to the well and just sort of bringing the old stuff back. We're respecting the storyline as it concluded, and we're moving forward. And I think that's about all I can say about it because it's still pretty early on. Although I think Brian's been talking a lot more about it, but I have such a bad memory recall. I don't know what to say or what not to say. So we'll just say I'm excited for new Power stuff.
When can we expect that?
Well, he's working on it right now.
I literally just started the first issue. Like, so I've got like layouts over here. I think just 2 days ago I started on the very first page.
So sometime next year.
Before the end of next year, we'll get.
Yes, before the end of next year. Yeah.
Good.
What else do I have going on?
I can't keep track.
Well, we have like, this is how I work my schedules and deadlines are like, we just go every morning. We're like, well, we're going to work on this. I'm doing these covers for Vault Comics Kid Maroon, which is drawn by Victor Santos.
Okay.
So those were a lot of fun. I just finished up a Nocturnals cover. We're doing BPRD. More Blue Book. That's in the works right now.
Galaxy Madness.
Galaxy of Madness from Matt Cape.
Mm-hmm.
I just finished up a cover for that. That series is continuing to come out as we speak.
Yeah.
Planning more William Newberry.
Mm-hmm.
We have other projects together. There's the Vincent Van Gogh pseudobiography that we did, which we have plans for. I can't. We got a lot going on. And Taki's got 2 of her own things that she's working on through Comixology.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, cool. Are those gonna be early 2025, Taki?
I think so. I think so.
We're always worried about our
own
work deadlines.
Yeah, our own deadlines that like I don't have like the release dates.
Yeah, like production or like
right. Like I just know when I have to turn my stuff in.
Yeah. As you know, as we like put these things together, like I'm very bad at doing anything other than like I'm pretty bad at the whole thing. Because if it's not like a drawing or a rating deadline, everything else becomes secondary. And then I'm like, scatterbrain professor type where like, I think today I put like the wrong AM PM or something on when I was telling people what the time was. I was like, I give up.
No, I get it. I'm juggling a lot myself, but I mean, it's when you're self-employed, you got to, right? There's always you got to take every opportunity as they come along, especially when you're excited and interested in working at them.
Yeah, it's great. I'm in a position where creator own wise, I can do pretty much whatever I want, and it's such a blessing, and I feel very lucky to be in that position. And I'm also lucky that I like working. Like I work every day, and I take off when I'm just feeling a little bit burned or if I need a break. But I enjoy working every day, and I'm glad that Taki feels the same because that would be hard. So it's just the 2 of us talking stories, reading our scripts to each other, checking our like last night I was showing her a cover, just like, does anything look wonky on here? Because you're looking at it so long, and I have kind of a wonky drawing style. There's an area in which that works and an area in which it doesn't, and I can't tell. So
yeah, we use each other for like songboard and just double checking on our work all the time, which is incredibly helpful to have like creative partners in each other. Like even if we're not working on the same project, like we can like consult each other on all aspects because we can do all of it, right? Like we can write, we can draw, we can color, and we can letter ourselves. So like if like we can
and then all the business end of it we're handling as well. So which is why like typically like Taki and I are attached at the hip anyway. But then when it comes to all this stuff, like I'm bad at just reiterating stuff to her, like, oh, this happened in this meeting or whatever. So like she just helps me keep the ship afloat,
which is really weird because I'm the one with like ADHD and MS.
Yeah.
So
you get to be editors for each other in a weird way, or just
absolutely 100%. We absolutely are editors for each other.
That's our favorite thing is digging into a script or story, figuring out what can we take out, what is the purpose of the scene. Does this dialogue, is this repetitive?
How do we shorten it? How do we say the same thing but like shorten it and get to the point and stuff like that. It's great. I love it.
I saw a question come in when you were mentioning getting back to work on Powers. Stingray wanted to know if there were going to be any new collected editions of Powers coming out that maybe he's not aware.
I think there's one more collected edition until it kind of catches up with that last trade that we did, the best ever. I think so, because I think we're pretty far along with the definitive collective editions at Dark Horse.
I thought they were all already out. No.
This is what we're saying. I know what my deadline for issue 1 is. It's
Michael
hard for me to tell.
Perlman said, by the way, Brian has not said much about this publicly. He said he will announce more in his newsletter this week.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. Last time I was doing something like this, I was asking him, well, what can we say about it? And he goes, well, it's
not the CIA,
yes.
so
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't think we're talking specifics about the project, just that it's coming back.
Now, do you get that kind of instruction from the publisher, or is it just something that you guys decide on your own? We're going to hold it back and keep some things secret for as long as
it's just a general rule of thumb. Like you don't want to talk about a project too soon before it comes out because it gets burned out, or you just kind of wait until you get closer. And it is a little further down the road. And in the meantime, we got other things to concentrate on. The Murder Inc. Series doing well at Dark Horse, and that's at Amazon right now under it's in production, I guess. So it's happening.
Things are happening. Congratulations.
Pre-production.
That's the word. I'm sorry, pre-production.
Yeah.
Do they keep you in the loop on that at all?
Yeah, and it's still active, so it's not like sometimes you get a deal and it just sits around until things expire and stuff, but things are actually happening, so that's super exciting.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. And you've didn't you do a Kickstarter over the summer too?
Yeah, we did for the After Realm, which was 5 issues, 5 double-sized issues. Right. We did a collection with a slipcase. We just got our books in, and the surveys are going out, and then books will start shipping like this next week.
Wow. Do you when you say they've come in, do they come into your place? Do you have your own?
No, I can't handle it. So we have Jeff McCumsey, who is another creator, really good creator. He has a Kickstarter right now called The Most Dangerous Game, which is based on the classic novel. Mm-hmm. And I did a pinup for that. Jeff also handles some people's Kickstarters, and he's just really good at it. He does all the packaging and shipping for us because we wouldn't have the bandwidth to do that.
So everything just gets shipped to wherever he works, and
so the printer ships them to him. I sign stuff, send it to him. So there's certain things that we can sign, and we try and keep it all practical so that the shipping costs don't become impractical for backers and stuff. But really happy about that. That's coming out. Just a lot.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track most days, but we just we just keep moving forward, and yeah.
But that's how I like it, because I definitely remember the days where it looked pretty bad, not having work, not getting any work, not having opportunities. So no matter how old I get or how long I'm doing this, I'm always going to have that feeling of just being grateful for the fans and the support to be able to do these works, whether they're creator owned or company owned or work for hire or whatever.
Sure. Now, I don't think we've really talked about the After Realm. I mean, in the other shows that we've done, can you tell me a little bit about that? And will there be the opportunity for people to pick up the collected edition outside of Kickstarter once all that's settled and shipped?
Yeah, After Realm was a fantasy book about an elf who goes to explore the worlds after Ragnarok and the apocalypse happens, to sort of remap what has happened to stuff. Mm-hmm. We did 5 issues to Kickstarter. 3 were originally at Image, and this was sort of just before or during the whole pandemic time. So like we were looking at Kickstarters as other alternate ways to put books out, and I was really grateful that we did. It's a whole other experience. You're much closer to your fans. The interaction to your backers is just closer, and it's a completely different model than a direct market model, but it's something that we'll continue to do.
Well, the latest Kickstarter was to collect all of the issues together. Yeah. So it has been collected now, and that's what's going to be shipped out.
Yeah. So we're concentrating on that for now, and then we'll probably figure out a way in the future to get them into other people's hands. But right now, it's just all about fulfilling the Kickstarters and making sure that the people who were there early get the books before we even start talking about other opportunities. Because that's the whole point of getting into like a crowdfunding thing, is you were there on the ground level, so the people who have been backing, and there's some people here in in the chat room, I said I could see who were backers, and yeah, they should always get everything first.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm with you there. That's the smart way to do it. I was just curious, for those who who might be interested in picking up one afterwards, because I didn't back the Kickstarter. Sorry to say.
No, it's fine. At some point, yeah, we'll figure out how to get into other people's hands. But after we take care of the first come first serve kind of situation.
Well, William Britton says backer number 2.
William's awesome.
It is
Thanks,
true.
William.
So you mentioned Brereton and doing a cover for Nocturnal. So I mean, what have you and Dan? What have you guys done prior to that? And
We were pals for a while,
Yeah.
and Dan did a cover for the After Realm.
Yeah.
So if you
He gifted us that cover.
that's right,
The
yeah.
original. So we have that on our wall.
The
It's
original Dan Brereton
beautiful.
painting.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's everything I've ever wanted.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Dan is amazing. His art's amazing. The new Nocturnal stuff looks great, which will be coming out through Dark Horse. I did the cover for. There's several other artists who have done covers for it. So keep your eyes out for that, because it's his best work. It's beautiful. Yeah, and he's a great guy.
Definitely. No, we've had him on the show a few times. He's
Excellent.
supported us in different ways. Through the virtual the con that we do. He sent some mystery sketches for us. Dan's a great guy. I love his artwork. I only own a couple pieces by him, but I can only imagine. I haven't seen the cover that you're talking about, but Dan is just one of the most amazing guys out there, and his work when you see it, just like yours.
Yep.
Very distinctive style. His color palette is, you know it when you see it. You just squint and know it's a Dan Brereton. Did not make anything out, but no, that's cool. And when we started too, you told me, what is the I Like Comics? This is your local shop or something?
Yeah, I Like Comics is our local comic book store here in Vancouver, Washington.
Okay.
And they do some cons and stuff. It's just a great all-around store run by good people. When I was looking for a black shirt today, I was like, okay, this is the one.
Yeah. Well, if you had do they have a website? You should be promoting them while you have the opportunity.
I think they have a website. Yeah, no, they definitely have a website. It's just I Like Comics. Taki will look it up right now.
But what do we get there? Another question came in from Mike Plavin, though. He wants to know when is the William of Newbury trade paperback going to be available, and volume 2?
Dark Horse is putting the trade paperback out in January. Okay. We're going to see how the trade paperback does to see if they'll be doing more at Dark Horse. Hopefully they will be. Regardless, I'm writing the next volume. So whether it comes out through Dark Horse or I'll do it myself, there's definitely more Williams Newbury coming out. But Dark Horse has been great. They've really done a great job of promoting it. I love having the book there. Had these amazing quotes by other Dark Horse creators. And it just feels like a Dark Horse book. But yeah, I'm well into writing the next arc. And I want to do at least 3. But there might be more, so we'll see. Because I just love that world. I love the anthropomorphic world. I love the medieval world. It's a good setting. It's where I like to live.
Very, very cool. So Brent, I saw, asked me about would Mike be doing any mystery sketches in the future. We haven't talked about it, so no, not anywhere in the near future. I think I asked you once, but it was your schedule was busy, and I never circled back to it. But one of these days, yeah, we'd love to have you do one or two.
Yeah, I mean, my schedule, it ebbs and flows. I'm usually trying to the way that you survive when you're sort of a creator-owned person or a freelancer is you're always planning for 2 or 3 projects ahead, right? You've got the work that's paying now, but you have to have something ready immediately after that. So that makes it difficult to just have the extra free time. But sometimes it works out. Sometimes especially if you have an ongoing or something that's working out in the long term, then it's a little easier to fit in other stuff, going outside.
I'll hit you up in May for the May show. So I'll reach out in March or something, late March.
Yeah.
It's always fun. We I think last time around we had over 250 that needed to be done. We had about 70 artists that participated, and so everybody did 2 or 3, and it's just fun. Cool. It's fun to see people enjoy it, and it's something that they can get from an artist where they're they don't know who they're getting it from, but it's just fun to get a piece of artwork from where you don't have to go out to a show or a signing. It just comes in and you get to pick the character. At any rate, it's one of the fun things we get to do twice a year now.
Awesome.
Yes, indeed. So So we're looking at, I know that typically when we've done these shows, I think it's always been kind of a mix of artwork that you have. So this time around, you sent me a lot of Powers artwork. Was that kind of a conscious decision, or was it, you know,
You know,
Well, it
that just
seemed
what was
like
at the top of
last
the pile?
time, like the Powers pages just went like gangbusters, like immediately. So give people what they want. We figured.
that's part of it. Like, really, I mean, that's the main thing I'm known for, right? Is Powers. Like I've
Of
done a
course.
bunch of stuff, and there's lots of things that other people like, but really, the reason why I have a career is Powers. The reason why people want to see other stuff is Powers. And as we've talked about, like, and one of these days we will give you a studio tour if we ever get it clean enough. It's pretty clean, but to show my piles of art in the cloud. Well, not in piles; they're in these drawers and stuff, and like they're kind of archived, but not. So sometimes I'll just find like a good batch of stuff. Like I found a Spirit page. I thought I sold all of my Spirit artwork. I did an issue of Spirit for DC. So that was one of the pages in here, and I also found some early Power stuff that we were really excited about. Some pages from Roleplay, which is the second arc. So it was that. It was just kind of thinking about what do people want and finding a good little batch of surprises.
No, I thought it was great to look through them, and I love the DPS essentially with the two pages on one board. It's just always fun. I've that era of Marvel where they were trying to shortchange everybody by paying them for a single page, but getting them to draw two pages on one. I've always wanted one of those just to have it because it's just
and I did some of the for my own cheap reasons, which was time, right? Like in my head, I was like, well, if I draw both these pages on one page, that's like getting two pages done at the same time. It kind of works and it kind of doesn't. It sort of just depends on the thing. So it's not technically a double page spread, but just two pages drawn on the same page. And I did that quite a bit.
No, well, I think it's cool. It reminds me of that. And every time I see one come up on Heritage or Comic Link or whatever, or eBay, well, not too often. I always want to buy one. I just haven't gotten lucky. I bid on a few. They're cool. So we've got. I think we have like 3 or 4 maybe of those vehicles in here. Yeah. So we could kind of like slide into the sale if you want and just start talking about the artwork that we have here today. Because
we can still take questions as we go on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless there's another, maybe I should wait and say. I mean, is there anything else you want to hit before we do that? I mean, anything that's on the horizon that we should know about? Any potential shows or appearances or signings that you might be doing that we should know
probably about? And I don't remember, not as far as like signings or anything or cons, because we don't get out too much, but let's just sign up for my newsletter. We'll put that in the link someplace. Or I'll even post it in the comments. That's kind of the best way. When I have something that you shouldn't miss, I make sure it's in the newsletter.
I did get your newsletter about the show, so
there you go. See?
I must have signed up.
That's how you found out.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm going to put the link to your website in the chat. How's that? That way everybody will know. I assume they can they can sign up from there.
Yeah.
And socially, what sites do you utilize the most?
It's mostly at Oeming everywhere, except for on TikTok. That's but you can still find me under Oeming there. But it's at Oeming on Instagram, Blue Sky, Twitter, and I have a professional Facebook page, which it'll be easy to spot when you look for it.
Okay.
Luckily, he's got like a very unusual last name, so I think that works.
Yeah, I kept it easy for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did luck out with that, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, the name was difficult all the time growing up, but as I got older, it helps. It helps not to be another Michael Smith.
You were technically gonna be Ben.
Yeah, there's a complicated family history which I got to write about one day because it's full of like intrigue and crazy stuff. But like, if I had my birth name, it would be Michael Avon von Hellberg.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would fit across a banner on a comic. I think we're better off that it's.
And then there's me, like 8 letters all together.
Yeah.
First and last name.
Man, oh man. Well, I'm glad you got coming out of that. But let me go ahead and give everybody the ground rules on the sale. I'm sure most people are familiar with it because you've been with us before on these. But I do have all the art in hand, so that we can state that up front. I will be shipping all the artwork after I get payments in. So anybody that claims any artwork today, you'll be typing your claim in the chat. Like, we've got 28 lots, so every slide of artwork we show will have a lot number on it. You just need to say claim and the lot number, and you will be, as long as you're first, you're the one who gets to claim the artwork. After the show, we need you to email me at bill@comicartfans.com. And when you do, send me your mailing address, let me know which lots you claimed, and we'll arrange payment after the show. We prefer payment via Zelle or Venmo, personal check, any way that we can avoid a fee. If you do need to use PayPal, we do charge a 4% US fee and 5.5 if you're international. But again, we prefer Zelle, Venmo, and again, even a slow mail check is preferred over here. And shipping will be done by me. The price on those is $30 domestic and $65 international. I pack everything really well in Masonite. Many people in the chat can confirm that. I like to make sure that the art arrives as good as it did when it came here. So that's very important to me. So let's see, hide that slide. Nope. Taki, if I waited one extra second, no one would have known you guys. Sorry about that. And since we know Mike's shirt says "I like comics," what does your shirt say, Taki?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, well,
no, that's literally what it says. I don't know.
It says
I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. All right, well, there we go.
I literally got the shirt so that somebody would ask me that question, and I can say that and mean it.
$19.99, worth it.
Oh man! All right, well, let's now just so everybody knows, I have the art right beside me. So if anybody wanted to see anything, I can always like remove a slide and hold it up. But the art's in perfect condition. No. There's no dings or anything on any of it. But if anybody
smears,
just a lot of bad drawing.
Right. No. Every once in a while, like I did a show with Fred Hembeck last week, and some of his pieces were a little bit older, and you could see it, right? And you want people to know there's a little bend in a corner or something like that. But with your art, Mike, I mean, it's pretty pristine. There's nothing. There are no issues with any of it. I went through all the pages this morning.
I try and keep the coffee off of it.
Have you ever spilled anything on any of your art where you had to just throw it away because
ink?
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I did have one awesome.
We cried that day when we spilled a bunch of ink on a bunch of originals.
Yeah, and there was once where I got coffee that dripped on like a Mice Templar watercolor painting, like something. No. It was I mean, it ruins the piece. Like you can't even give it to a friend because then it's just like, well, this is broken. Here, you can have it.
Yeah, there was no saving it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And quickly before we get into the art sale, that's important to me is finding homes for the artwork. Like I'm fine selling my work, but I also I appreciate that people want it. Even if you're using it for commerce and you're going to it's just an investment and stuff, just knowing it's someplace safe. I hate knowing that art is destroyed, like with the coffee, or once I bought some art at a convention and lost it there and like left it. And like worse than thinking somebody stole it was just knowing it's destroyed or it doesn't have a place or something. So I appreciate wherever this is going and people here to buy for their own enjoyment or for investments or whatever.
Oh my goodness. We have an update on the art. Like, I think we talked about this before on the show where you sent an original Mignola to Adam.
Dave Johnson.
Oh, Dave Johnson.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? And then
I do. What was
Dave
the
Johnson
story?
never received it.
Yeah.
And we just kind of suspected that
it was a case from the first Hellboy maybe issue, but from the first trade, and it was the aliens. We had that big galactic thing. It was the first time we saw the Agdru crystals in space. And I sent it to him, to Dave Johnson, as a birthday gift. And then he never got it. Yeah. So I thought for years, this is one of those things that just disappeared into the ether. Not long ago, I see a picture of Dave Johnson's studio, and I could see it on the wall. And what had happened was he was moving from his studio in Georgia when I sent it to him. So he got it. I think he just never opened it, or just kind of got stuck in the shuffle as things were moving. And then life goes on.
So, but he didn't let you know he found it and framed it.
Yeah, and it was just on his wall and like
Yeah.
yeah.
So that
and
was a great.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it wasn't lost. It's being
Yeah.
loved and displayed.
It wasn't
so we're
destroyed
just
somewhere.
Yeah, so we're like,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah, I think that's where my fear of like art not having a home comes from. You know.
Yeah.
Mike says that is one heck of a gift, and that is
Dave was a great friend, and like early on, he was. I count. Yeah, he was a good friend.
He's not watching right now. He didn't hear that.
He was one of my early mentors. Like it was early '90s when we were like doing a lot of faxing and stuff. So we'd be up all night, faxing artwork back and forth. When he was working on like U.S. Agent or the Eric Larson's sort of Superman character. Yeah, he taught me a lot, and we just became close. And I was like, all right, let's just send this over to him.
Did you shoot him an email or a text saying?
Oh yeah, we talked about it afterwards. It was funny.
Yeah, there was a story we talked about early in the summer where the year before, an a very expensive artwork was shipped to somebody and just disappeared. Right? I mean, it was a 5-figure piece, I think, or somewhere around in there. Never got where it was going. Never went back to the rep who had sent it. It literally got sent back to the rep. Through the USPS a year later, like whatever, they found it in a who knows? They're flat, right? I mean, it could be sitting on a shelf somewhere, and people just putting other stuff on it, and then one day, they had to go through insurance and stuff because both parties lost. The artist lost the art, the buyer lost. So they had to go through that, and then lo and behold, it came back, returned, and he was able to.
That's crazy.
Isn't that? I mean, a year, and this is the second time it's happened to this particular rep, and he's the guy that taught me to use Masonite, and it's also because of him, and I know he still doesn't do this. That I actually, when I pack the artwork, I wrap the ends in yellow tape because I just feel like if it is sitting flat somewhere and it's brown, at least the yellow tape will show up.
Stick out,
right?
yeah.
So I've been doing that ever since I heard about the first artwork he lost, and then here it turns out he had a second one. So you'd think at this point that he would try to make it more colorful, and he still handwrites Fragile on it. I'm not naming his name. So at any rate, but I have these big white stickers, with a Fragile on it. So
yeah,
I make mine look, you're not going to misplace mine.
But that's a great idea with the tape.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I like that idea.
I get where you're coming from. I can't imagine, the losing something for any length of time and worrying about it, especially something that has any value. But something like that's special, and you're giving it as a gift, and then to lose it,
yeah,
time on a historical piece like that. So
yeah.
All right. Well, now we can dive into the sale. All right, we can. And I have to say, I kept everything in the order that you had it in the PDF when you sent it. So I don't think. I mean, I think I might have shifted one thing or another around just to kind of keep them grouped together. But I know that we're not. People might be disappointed that there's not like a perfect chronological order or things of that nature. But it'll all make sense. It's not higher price lowest to highest or anything like that. But they are kind of grouped together. So we'll just kind of dive into the sale and get to talking, because I know this first piece has a prelim and it also has the finished piece as well. So I made 2 slides for this one, but this is from Young Justice, and I think it was issue. I was trying to look it up. I think it was 18, right?
That sounds right. Yeah, that rings a bell. And Bendis wrote it, and this is the character Spoiler. And it was like a fun, there's the my prelim for it. Often I'll draw a prelim sort of like in light pencil, and then with a ballpoint pen define all of the basic shapes. Then I'll either scan it into ink it digitally, or in this case I just did a non-repro blue.
Mm-hmm. Right. The prelims on 11x17, kind of a lighter paper, and then the main artwork is done on Bristol. Most of the stuff. So, but I was trying to find the exact issue, but I'm pretty confident it was 18. But that one's. Let me show the full. There it goes.
Yeah,
it's a nice piece. Again, it's very indicative of your panel layout and just a fun piece.
And I love Spoiler. That's a Stephanie Brown version, right?
I think so.
Yeah. I love her.
And it was just fun just drawing, action, martial arts, leaping around kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, this is cool. And I know that we have the second lot is another Young Justice 18 page as well. But let me.
And of course, Brian Bendis.
Yeah, Brian's dialogue was all over the place.
All over the place.
Is that how it always is, Mike, or is that what are his plots like when you get them? I mean, are they fully?
Oh yeah. No, he writes full script. Yeah, he writes full script. Obviously, we know each other's rhythm really well, but also Brian is the king of the sort of yes and idea. So like whatever he gets, he will adjust his script to it rather than be like, oh well, I wish that the car was this year, or you drew this differently than I wrote it, so you redraw it and stuff. So he's all about giving the artist freedom. But typically his scripts are so clear. I know what he wants, and then my job is to sort of emphasize that.
Yeah, yeah. And he's very open to like changing the dialogue after he gets the art back. To match it better than what he had in the script if it calls for it.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, this is I think the beginning of the battle scene. This next one is the panel layout on this thing is fantastic.
Oh, thanks.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's really fun.
That's so fun. I love that
big cartoonish kick was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah,
I had to do the photo reference for that. What? Why are you laughing?
Well, I was spoiler, and you were the big dude.
Oh, that's true.
It was hard.
Is that how you did it? Oh, so the rules were reversed in this one.
Well, those are definitely Taki's abs.
Well, Mike did take, martial arts. I never did.
I don't remember any of it either, so don't ask me.
Yeah, I mean, when you're drawing a scene like this, are you looking at reference at all, or you just kind of?
Oh yeah, I've got for fight scenes, like I'm a big fan of reference, whether it's photo reference, finding reference through films. Like I'll watch some good like martial arts films and like freeze frame stuff that just try and I want to capture that sense of movement. Like I don't want it to be a generic punch or a generic kick for superheroes and stuff, and then I have a lot of fun with like cutting up the action into these smaller panels because it gives that sense of flow of like boom, 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 boom versus bigger images. They're almost like slow motion, right? Like that top panel feels like a slow motion Chuck Norris kick, and then you get into these like smaller, quicker action pieces and stuff.
Hence the smaller panels.
Yeah, quicker beats and
quicker beats. Yeah, it speaks very loudly. I always really admire Mike's layouts because they tell a story all on its own. You don't need dialogue. You know exactly what's going on. You understand the rhythm and the pacing, and you're not confused. And you're also like visually excited, like just as a whole.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well said, Taki.
And these pages were fun with a character like that to do like kind of these silhouette figures to get that sort of Alex Toth thing that I like so much.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I'm showing the prelim once again, so everybody knows that it does come with a prelim. Now, Alberto says he loves uneven panels. It is a different dimension. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gives a sense of chaos.
Absolutely.
All right, we're going to get a little out of chaos into something that is a cover image, but very cool. This is like 12 years ago too. I think when I was looking at the public
time goes by so quick, man.
January 2013. So this is definitely something you would have worked on a dozen years ago.
Yes, the Victories was a creator-owned series I did at Dark Horse for 2 years. I wrote and drew it. It is one of the things I'm most proud of. There's a big collection at Dark Horse, an omnibus of all the issues, and we did a couple of issues like an introductory to the series at Dark Horse for Dark Horse Presents when that was brought back in I think it's 2012-ish, something like that. So this is the cover for that. Gets into some conspiracy stuff like fake moon landing stuff and fun like that, you know.
Yeah, I remember the tagline for this book was something like raunchy and shocking superhero, something like, it was something along those lines.
Sure, like all the characters had sort of psychological issues, most of which were picked apart from mine or family members that I picked up out of therapy. And then it's mixed into the story about superheroes and sort of ancient alien lore, you know, so it gets into the question of like where humanity comes from, where superheroes come from. And it's this big, fun, sprawling conspiracy thing. It gets pretty dark, but also has lots of humor in it. I really miss the characters a lot, especially that guy with the dog face. The Jackal is one of my favorite characters. One of the most favorite characters I ever created in this. I killed off, and somebody was so mad that they were like, "I'm never reading this book again," because she was
really, they were just
the best character, which was like it hurt, but it was also the best compliment I could ever get.
Right. I mean, if they're that vested in the character, then you did your job.
Yeah. So there's, I don't know how many pages. It's like 300-page omnibus you can get from Dark Horse. So if you haven't checked it out, I think if you like my work at all, I think you'll like it.
Cool. Yeah, well, especially the first storyline was extremely personal.
Yeah,
and he worked on it really like for himself and for a couple of years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked on it like a couple of years, like before he even looked for a publisher. Like he just needed to do this. So, I am the most proud of this work because it wasn't just that like he created this universe and did this comic, but he did it because he needed to, and he did it to just, you know, work out whatever needed to be worked out. And this is like art therapy, really.
Yeah.
You know, at its best.
But a lot of my projects are like that. I mean, they're not as necessarily as that personal, but I'll just start working on something if I know I want to do it. So that, it's just, and that way, by the time you find a publisher, you're already kind of like ahead of the game. Yeah.
And I've adapted that attitude myself too. I'm just like, I'll just start working on it. Like, who cares? We'll find a home for it eventually.
Yeah. Sleeping While Standing was like that. You started drawing it and everything before you even thought.
I didn't even think it was going to be a comic. I just needed
a story.
Yeah, I just needed to do them. So.
Very nice. So those pages are buried in the closet somewhere, huh?
Yeah, no, I have a ton. I have not sold very much of the Vickery stuff at all. I just haven't offered it, you know.
Cool. All right. Well, we will. Actually, we're going to move on to Lot 4, which is something you mentioned not too long ago, a spirit page that you said you pretty much don't have any more of these, right? I mean, and when was this done?
This is like 2007, 2008, probably 2008. That time period. I was still in Jersey when I did this. So this is for, I think, issue 7 of the DC run. I wrote and drew it. At this point, I think the only thing I have left are a few like prelim sketches, some layouts. There might be a page or two that's like kind of not finished. I'm not quite sure what to do. Like I was working partially in digital in those early days. But I love this. It has a lot of sort of that sort of like, I was doing my best to pay my homage to Eisner. So like even those top panels there where there's no panel frames, right? And it's just sort of that brushy panel frame that Eisner would do was a lot of fun. And just doing this issue changed me in a lot of ways because I was in sort of the Eisner school, you know, because I'm trying to pay as much homage to him as possible in the book. And while I'd always been a fan of Eisner's and I'd studied his work before to have a reason to really steep myself into that. And this is where I started to think about panel borders and panels being as much of the storytelling as the visuals in the panels. You know, like how does a panel say something? How does a panel tell you that a character is drifting out of consciousness? How does a panel show you that something is powerful and strong? How is it a small moment? How to guide the eye? Not just with the composition within the panels, but using the panels themselves. And this was all the very beginning of that. And it's one of the things I'm most proud of out of my entire career was getting to write and draw an issue of the Spirit. And I hope I get to do it again. Like that and Dick Tracy or big bucket lists that I didn't even know were possible, so they were never on the list.
I can see that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he did marvelous work on Dick Tracy as well. Those covers that we
Oh yeah,
put up early on. Remember those?
I
Those
think
were
that's what we started out with a lot.
yeah,
of
yeah. The first couple sales shows we had was yeah, we had a couple Dick Tracy covers in there, and they were you were meant to draw Dick Tracy. Like
thanks. The Matt Cave's doing a great job on their latest series too.
very nice. Well, all right. So this one's available, lot 4, and now let's see, lot 5. I think is the only page we have for Murder Inc.
Yeah, Jagger Rose.
Yeah, this is a game. I mean, you know what's wonderful about this? Again, the panel layout, but it's like the figures really carry us through the whole page, right? With the action down to the last panel, it's so well done.
Thanks. Yeah, I was really happy with this, especially just the high contrast of it, you know. And this is something I struggle with a lot, where when you're drawing digitally, it's a little too easy. A digital art does a lot for you, you know. The way it sets up perspective tools for you, how easy it is to drop things and textures that are already pre-built into the programs. When you're working analog, you lose a little bit of control, like line control and some other stuff. But because it's harder to add stuff, it allows me to more easily play with negative space. You know, that sort of black and white checkerboard feel of this page. It's stronger than my digital stuff because I can't easily add stuff to it. So sometimes I'm forcing myself to work analog because I know even if it takes a little bit more time, weirdly, it can go by faster because I'm not putting more into it. Like, it's just easier to do less in the best way, if that makes any sense.
You can easily edit yourself, basically.
Yeah. Where it's just always, I can do another line here, and it won't be a problem digitally. The digital art it's a lot of fun, but it's also, like I said, so it's a little too easy to just keep adding stuff.
Well, yeah, there's just pros and cons for both directions, right?
When I'm working digitally, there's a lot of constraint happening. Like, I'm really, really trying hard to not draw stuff. In fact, my last pass on a page is taking things out. I'll create another layer of a weight opacity and take things out to see how much I can take out because of what I put in. So it's weird. I can work faster digitally, but then I put more time into it because I'm trying to cut back afterwards. But I really just yeah. But overall, I just love this page. I love the way it flows, like the characters'
Jagger.
bodies and such. Jagger.
She's, you know.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
Yeah.
And, you know, possibly a TV show.
There you go.
Well, you're gonna have to keep us updated on that. But yeah, no, that's a great piece. And this next piece is more of a prelim. And I did forget to say that I should have mentioned, I didn't show the slide for it, but with the Dick Tracy piece, we did have a prelim for that one as well.
For the Spirit page?
I'm sorry. After I read Alberto's telling us that he bought a couple of the covers, I forgot all about that, Alberto.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Thank you, Alberto.
So this next piece is more of a prelim. This is from Young Justice, a couple studies on this 11 by 17, but he also had a pencil study that went with it. So we have 2 pieces for this one lot. And this was just doing some character reference for yourself to get in the groove.
Yeah, so this was for there was a Young Justice story that Brian wrote, and it was Superboy in Warlord's land, which was a lot of fun because I got to draw not only Superboy, who I'd never drawn before, but also Warlord, who's it's just up my alley of like fantasy.
Loincloth, right?
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Yeah, like half naked guys, you know, like anything that looks like a Frazetta drawing makes me happy. And you know, Mike Grell being the legend that he was for having created the character and stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure going into it, I knew how to draw the character. So I did these quick studies.
Yeah, I think you did rather well. And again, who doesn't love Mike Grell's Warlord from back in the day?
Cool.
I mean, I as a big Marvel fan, I still crossed over and read Warlord because I love kind of sci-fi fantasy related stories, and Warlord was
Yeah.
just so hard to pass up. And Grell, he could draw a really great splash page, with
Yeah.
Warlord, and there's a lot of amazing pieces on calf by him. But yeah, that had to be a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely.
What was it? Michael Perlman said Spirit was 2009.
Oh my God.
Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, Mike. Mike is one of our resources out there. One of
Yeah.
our main resources for understanding anything that I've done.
Yeah.
So maybe he's the true editor of the both of them.
Yeah.
He's an encyclopedia.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
All right, well, the next lot is it's kind of out of place in its own way, because we have the BPRD cover is actually the last item we're going to be looking at tonight. But this was a Hellboy study, and I think it was probably out of a sketchbook or something, right? It had a little bit of it's still got the border paper, like the perforated side to it. But I could show that off. But so this was done just kind of getting the groove once again.
Yeah, this was to prepare for the BPRD story that I'm doing now. Like Hellboy's in it, not tons, but he's in it. And I really struggle with Hellboy. Like he has that Bart Simpson's effect, whereas if I'm drawing him slightly out of proportion, like whether it's his horns, the top of his head, or his chin, like his facial features for me need to be a specific way, or else it doesn't feel like Hellboy to me. And in my own drawings, like I like other people's wild interpretations of him, but for me, I got to get it right. So yeah, this is just one of the studies I did. And I used a little bit of wash, and it was just out of my usual sketchbook where I do my layouts and stuff. And it's just fun, Can't wait to draw more Hellboy. In fact, I'll if in Chris Roberson's script for BPRD, if Hellboy's mentioned, I'll draw him in the background, even if he's not in the scene. So it'll be like superimposed Hellboy, or Hellboy's face will become the frame when he's mentioning why he's not there. Any chance to draw Hellboy will trigger. He's like Beetlejuice. Just say Hellboy, he'll show up.
No, I get you. And I saw a question from somebody whose name I'm not familiar with in the chat. So they were asking, where are these available? They're actually all in my possession right now. And so any pieces that get claimed tonight, and tonight, so I'm used to doing these in the evening. Any artwork that gets claimed this afternoon, we arrange payment after the show, and I ship the art out for Mike and Taki. So I saw Fat Dog tried to claim lot 7 as well, but that one was picked up by Mike Plavin. So
yay, Mike!
And I did forget to remind everybody, because you could be a little bit behind Fat Doc, but and I know Fat Doc who that is actually. I always forget his regular buyer on the show. But right below my name on the screen, there's a live button. So anybody who hasn't clicked the live button on YouTube, click that, because it gets you as current as everyone else in the chat with the live stream, because you could join later and it could put you 10-15 seconds behind. And when that happens, you'll miss out on a claim, because everybody else is seeing the artwork before you are, and those sorts of things happen. So now that I've talked long enough, anybody who wants to claim anything today, be sure you click the live button, or you can refresh your browser. That fixes it too. But yep, there you have it.
And I should just let Mike look through this stuff before I send it to you, because he lives here. Like
he lives right. Yeah. So now we're going to ship it
couple hours short. So like the art's come from here all the there, and it's going to come back. And he was a backer for artwork on some of the Afterrealm stuff.
Okay.
So like he's got a cover piece or a big piece coming from that as well. So thank you, Mike.
Yes, thank you very much, Mike. It'll be shipped with care. So this next piece is absolutely amazing, and again, I'm doing these in the order that I got them in the PDF. So this is just an incredible wraparound cover. We have it priced at $2,500 from the best ever. And I knew I actually grabbed an image from that cover too. I'm surprised I forgot to put it in the slide, but it was printed really well. I wish I was showing it now, because I'm looking at the printed image, and they did just a fantastic job at this. But boy, what an imposing wraparound cover here, Mike. I mean, did you want to like challenge yourself with this one by putting in so many characters and
yeah.
Special?
So the story for this is the final storyline of Powers. The best ever was a graphic novel that we did that celebrated the 20th year of Powers, and it brought the entire saga, the entire storyline to an end. To an end. And so this cover, not only was it for a graphic novel for the 20th anniversary, I wanted to make sure that it basically had all of the characters on it, one of those like classic kind of jam covers. So there's Walker, Dina, Enki, Cutter, those are early character and powers. Captain Cross, there's Zora, there's Trip Hammer, Retro Girl, Super Shock, several others of the characters that just Olympia is on there, I can see. Yeah, so I just wanted to have all of the characters on this piece, and yeah, definitely took me a couple days. Definitely took me a couple days to figure out. Well, it's a one of a kind, and it's kind of even an homage to the very first Powers cover with a slightly different angle. Sort of like every time we've done a new volume 1 of Powers, there's some variation of this Walker pose. So I've had Dina and Walker doing the same pose from a different angle for, I think, Marvel's #1 cover. Because we've had, I think, 4 different volumes at this point. There's been, Image, Marvel. There were trades at DC where I did original covers, and then more of the collections at Dark Horse. And then there's a new series. So yeah, this was all of the characters on one cover. Diamond's on there. That's Walker and his other persona. And this is for the last.
This is the last of this cast of Powers.
It's basically the last time I drew Walker. Like, even in the book, the pages that I drew there were digital. This is literally the last physical printed thing I've drawn of Walker for print. It's the end of the series.
Yeah. Aw.
Which is why I could only stay away for 5 years.
Well, it's fantastic, and it is 17 by 22, and it's on 2 boards taped together. I should have mentioned that, but yeah, just amazing piece, and yeah. If it, and I should remind everybody, anything that doesn't sell live during the stream will be up on CAF after the show, and I'll update the show description to have a link to that. So anybody who's watching the show after the fact, if you see pieces that haven't sold that you're interested in, you'll be able to follow the link that I put in the description, and you can contact me directly through comicartfans.com, and I'll let you know which pieces are still available, and we can work things out after that. So again, this one's lot 8, and we're jumping around a little bit, but moving over to lot number 9 was another. This is a prelim for Darkness. Darkness sketch from that book, and it's on 8.5 by 11 bond paper, I believe. Just a fun character, very appropriate for you to draw.
This was a funny one because I did an issue of the Darkness with Phil Hester. So Phil Hester wrote it. It's called Lodbrok's Hand, and it was a Viking tale. I think it was done around the same time as The Spirit. Yeah. Because I remember being in your apartment in Bordentown drawing this. And it was a lot of fun, this single issue. It's weird that, like, it was one of the few times I did one of the big Image books. But it's sort of, like, I don't want to say it disappeared, but, like, I feel like it's a hidden gem. It's some of my favorite stuff, but it doesn't get as much coverage as a lot of the other work. Maybe because it's so far outside of my usual sort of creator-owned stuff. And yeah, this was the main villain in the book, I think. It's kind of hard to tell who the villain and heroes are in a Darkness book, right? And this was just, one of the possible covers. Actually, this is the cover sketch for the finished cover, which was sold years ago somewhere down the line.
All right, very nice. So this one's at $100, and might as well show a published page because we do have one as well. So this one's priced at $250. Yeah, I mean,
gorgeous, I think.
Using the cavern for for framing the page is just brilliant. I mean, it's handling the panel layout with them. I mean, I love this piece. It's so well done.
No, thanks so much.
It's kind of hard to even see all those characters in it. I mean, but there's a lot of character work there, and that even in the first panel, but the second panel, the last panel with them leaving out the cave. I mean, it's just a beautiful artwork.
Thank you. Yeah, this was an unusual challenge for me because the nature of the Darkness outfit, right? It's so detailed. It's much more detailed than I draw, and I couldn't really figure out how to do it in my brushy style. So I did it all in pen. The whole thing is in pen, which I don't do a lot of. Like, there's no brush in any of this. And in fact, it was weird at the time because I was thinking, I'm illustrating this the way I typically illustrate the Mice Templar, which when I draw Mice Templar, it was all very fine pens and stuff. So that was the same deal here. Everything was just inked in pen. And again, just that kind of pseudo-barbarian, fantasy setting was a lot of fun. And yeah, I had a lot more fun drawing these characters than I would have thought going into it. And it helped, Phil Hester is a great writer, so he just wrote a really fun script.
Oh yeah, Phil's a great guy. I haven't, emailed a little like last month. We're going to get him on the channel just to do a straight interview of him as an artist and an art collector. Because
he's an amazing art collector. Yeah.
Yeah, he really is. He's got one of my favorite galleries on CAF. He's been collecting for a very long time. But this is great, and thank you, Fat Doc,
He did a cover for us for After Realm.
Oh, yeah, he did a cover for After Realm. Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. So we're going to go over to the next slide, 11.
I just want to say that page is gorgeous.
Oh,
it really is. I mean, it's like you said, and maybe it's because of you're using a pen on that one, but it's just, you can tell that there's a lot of care that went into getting that, the costume right, the cavern right, all of that. I mean,
it's beautiful.
Yeah, I figured I was be a weird art choice for the fans of the book, so I might as well make sure I get like the character and details right, And a lot of characters are like that. Like it's about serving. When you're doing work for hire stuff, it's about serving the fans, like more than the company. It's like, well, why do people like this character? Why do people like this book?
Sure.
And you got to try and tap into that and give it to the readers, give them what they want.
That makes sense. Now we're moving into some Powers stuff now. So we have quite a few pieces in there that were all very, very awesome. So look at this thing. Yeah. I mean, it's mostly city, but boy, what a great piece. This is it's on 11 by 17. It's a DPS. Just wonderful. I mean, I think like we were looking at that other Powers, or the first Powers cover, right? And there on the published cover, some of the buildings in the background might have been done digitally, but here you've laid everything in traditionally, and it's a powerful image. It really is great.
Yeah, it's funny. Like a lot of when I'm working digitally, and like I said, there's perspective tools that keep everything perfect, right? And those look great, and I'm happy with them. But there's something about freehanding. I'm not freehanding the perspective, but by allowing the lines to have life to them by not being perfect, it just brings so much more life to the page, I think. And I was
for sure.
Yeah. And I really like
it.
This
Almost
page
has like a little bit of like a what do you call it?
The warped perspective.
Yeah, warped perspective, which I think to the naked eye looks more natural than if it was, completely straight lined perspective.
Yeah, but I really like this. And I like this character. So it's Walker, and I'm forgetting
Fishbowl effect. Thank you.
Fishbowl, yeah, you go. This kind of drunk superhero character that Walker was dealing with in this episode. I think it was called Z was the storyline, and it was about these characters from Walker's past during the 1950s when he was sort of running with this Rat Pack kind of group of characters. Yeah, a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's such a good page.
I like the shadow of the guy on the water tower.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that until you mentioned it.
I remember doing my first New York City Comic Con with Adam Hughes. We were buddies. He was in a town next to me. And it's like 1990, maybe 91. And we had a hotel at the Penn Hotel. This is when the con was at the Penn Hotel. Yeah. And we get to the room and we look out the window. And we had been to New York before, but not like up in a to see the rooftops. And it was like a Frank Miller wet dream happening. Like, we were just like, oh my God, it's really like
he wasn't making this up.
We were counting the water towers and the units and like trying to figure out, well, what is all this piping for? Because you want to draw this stuff, right? But why are there so many pipes up there? Like, what are they coming and going? Like, we couldn't figure it all out. And then we were debating whether or not we could make a jump from this roof to another. And just a lot of fun. And I think about that memory every time I draw water towers. Like, even now, I think water towers are it's an older infrastructure. I don't know if new buildings and cities even have them. Like here in Portland, when we're on a high rise, I don't see tons of water towers. So I think there's a different.
Yeah, but there aren't a lot of high rises, and like the high rises aren't that high.
There's I mean, it's a small city, but there's a handful. So they're newer buildings, is what I'm saying, right? So yeah, I still love water towers. And yeah, and I think about that memory with Adam.
Purposeful or not, they just look good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, PX for picking that one up.
Yay.
You got a good one there. I'm looking forward to getting that in your hands after.
What's interesting is like the characters are the least shown thing on that page, but I think the city has so much character to it.
Oh yeah.
Which is hard to pull off. There's times where I've drawn like a really intricate city, and like it's just a solid background, like it's just solid. And there's other times where it feels alive, you know, and it's rare when that happens. And so you got a page like that, and I hope you're really happy with it because I loved it.
Indeed. Let's see, we got lot 12 next here. So this is one of those 2 pages that we talked about earlier, an interrogation scene. But again, you get, I didn't even notice that you did note the page numbers on there. But this is just nice. I mean, you're like getting a complete. It's 2 pages
in one. Yeah.
Right. Which, again, did you do this a lot, or was it?
Yeah, there was a while I did this. Yeah,
this is earlier on, right?
This is so these are super early pages.
Yeah.
This might be from role play.
So that was the second volume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be from role play. Like I know that's that character was designed after David Mack, the one who's being interrogated, and that's Captain Cross and Walker and Dina, and yeah, this is definitely early on. In fact, I kind of think that building they're walking out with the overhang, that might have been the Penn Hotel, because there were still some conventions back then. I was taking lots of photos in New York City for reference at the time. But regardless, yeah, it's Walker and Dina. This is super early on, and I would play. I just do a lot of experimenting when I'm drawing. I've actually drawn some pages on not quite photocopy paper, but something pretty similar to it, because I wanted it to feel so loose to me. And sometimes working on really nice paper, it's kind of like, oh, this is great paper, so I got to use the best pens, and I'm just thinking about the thing instead of the finished process. So sometimes I even worked on like this light paper to give my sense of freedom. Like this isn't precious, to let it breathe and to let it flow. This particular case, I believe this is regular Bristol board, but I was drawing them 2 pages on a single page. It was a sort of a mind game of, well, if I'm drawing 2 pages on one page, it's sort of like the amount of time it would take to do a regular page with just a lot of panels. And since they were mostly talking and there's not like a big action spread, I didn't have to worry about the line quality getting too thick once it was reproduced. So that's what was going on here. It was part of that process of figuring out doing monthly books, hitting deadlines and stuff.
Right.
And classic Dina and Walker.
Yeah, and there's just less and less of these pages as we go by. Not just the early pages, but Walker and Dina on the same page.
Yeah. Aw. Such a good page.
All right, well, you get 2 pages for $500 with this one on lot 12, and then we have lot 13. Now, this is a standard, 1 page on this one. So a drug house scene, and there's a lot of squalor you got to draw on this one. But the lighting on this thing is fantastic. I mean, everything that we'd expect from one of your artworks. Yeah, just a really well done piece.
Thank you. Yeah.
The details of the clutter is
too real.
It's very. It's real.
Yeah.
The thing is,
and there's some fun.
It's giving me a lot of anxiety.
And there's some fun, creepy Easter eggs in there as well.
I'm seeing some now that I didn't see when I originally.
Some that accidentally blew up. That's like right in the middle.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
This is from role play as well. And this is Walker. He goes into this house that's obviously like a drug den of a superhero, and he goes into the closet and finds an entrance to a superhero lair.
Aliases looks like an artist's room.
I had a studio that looked like that for a little bit
Oh.
when I was young.
The tell-all Michael Oeming book we didn't know we needed. Oh, man. Well, all right. So this is lot 13 at $400. Then the next one again is this is a great page. It's lot 14 and priced at $500. But again, the lighting on this thing is just fantastic, and the first panel is so dramatic. It has so much depth, and I think it's just an amazing page. I really like this one a lot. Yeah, just the second, third, the second, third, and fourth panel just kind of into her hood and everything. I mean, it's awesome. It's just a great story.
This is also one of the very, very first times I heavily experimented with dropping lines.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see like there's a lot of this open lines where there's not like an exterior line, but the shadows are what's defining the shape. And this is before I was working digital, so I had to do this all by eye or whatever the term is. Because now when you're working digitally, it's just easy to just erase lines. Which is why there's people like Chris Samney and Victor Santos who work mostly traditionally, who can do that without trying.
Sure.
It's a skill that I'm in awe of. But this was my first attempt at doing a lot of that, and I really like this page a lot.
Which story is this from?
I can't say the name of this arc, but this is from when Dina gets the Powers virus, and she's gone undercover.
Can you not say it because you can't pronounce it?
Exactly. So she's going undercover here. This was sort of at the end of the first Marvel run.
Okay.
Yeah. Before it became Icon, I think.
So this is still from volume 1?
No, this would be volume 2.
Volume 2.
Volume 2.
Okay.
And there's the Simons are in here as well. The Simons were the cloned thugs that we had in our very, 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 very first Power story, which appeared in like Comic Shop News newspaper. And the Simons were also in the television show, and maybe we'll see them again. I don't know.
Replicating, I can't see why. I don't see why not.
All right. Well, this is it's a fantastic page. I'm in awe of it. So
agreed.
So we have another 2-pager here on lot 15, priced at $500.
I think this. So I think this is sequential to the page that we were looking at before when he goes. I think this actually happens before that page, because here he's looking at the costume that he finds.
That leads him into that closet.
Yeah, because there's this huge mess in there and stuff. So that's yep. Yeah, so that's part of the same scene actually.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty classic scene it's a Walker Powers investigation.
Yeah.
All right, so we have lot 15.
I'm really glad that Walker put on some gloves because
Yeah, and again, this is 2 pages on one sheet.
Right. Yeah, he definitely needed the gloves after what we saw in lot 13, which would have been So, all right, so this is 15 with the 2 pages for $500. So then lot 16, another single page. This one's only $200. This has like a Twin Peaks vibe to it with those heavy lines.
This is super early on, right?
Yeah, this is very early on. Probably shortly after, because I'm recognizing a lot of the pen style that I was using in there, that flat pen.
Mm-hmm.
So sometime after role play, but still early on. And I included this so we can get something lower tier into people's hands. B, it was interesting that this was lacking, or that it had lettering on it. Like that, the lettering on there is actually on the page, and I don't know. I know I didn't do that. I think at one point we were trying to get lettering on the physical page because this was sort of, it was right at the beginning of all the digital lettering, and some of us were sensing that we were missing, having lettering on the page. but it was just always tough because that meant I would have to pencil or ink the page, send it to the letterer, and then get it back. And yeah, it just didn't make too much sense. I think we were trying for something that was just gone.
Right at that
unless
point.
you're lettering your own hand lettering your own pages, it doesn't make sense anymore for the expense and time and risk of sending stuff in the mail back and forth.
Right.
But that was one of the reasons, was just that, I thought it was neat that it had some lettering on there. You could also see some of the production notes on there about repeating panels, as somebody was telling, like, either from a TV shot or they're flashing back into the story.
Yeah, pretty rare kind of style of page for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Michael Perlman is offering to identify the pages and numbers if you send him the images of the live sale.
Oh, I can do that.
A week or two beforehand.
Okay. Oh, in the future. Okay, yeah.
For the future, yes.
Actually, yeah, that would be great.
We will do that on the next one. And if you want to send me an email after the show of any pieces that you know the issue and page number from, I'd appreciate it, because I'm going to be posting these up on CAF. So
and it is a real job. I mean, I really, really appreciate Mike doing that, because there's the issues that they came out in, and then there's been multiple collections of trades. Some of them are the trades of just that storyline. Some of them are the trades of the larger collections, and the larger collections tend to be what I keep, just for space, instead of having a bunch of smaller ones. So it's hard for me to just look through, because I'll find the page, but then trying to figure out actually what issue it was and all that kind of stuff can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate it, Michael. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I do too. Yeah. Anything you can do, Michael, just email me after the show. So let's see, lot 17. This is kind of an interesting layout and scene here.
My face on Walker is awesome. I love it so much.
This was a lot of fun.
He looks so sad.
It's always fun to get to do like these gory pages where people are exploded or torn apart. This one, instead of getting into the details of the anatomy, a lot of times I would do that. Like I would literally get an anatomy book and be like, okay, well, the spleen is here, the spine is here, this part of the brain is here, this part of the skull is there. It was a little more abstract here, and I let the panel tell the story. The dripping panel.
Oh yeah.
From the gory scene that him and Enki find.
Also, yuck.
Yeah.
Josh Flanders, that left a mark. It didn't leave much else behind but that mark. Boy.
Nice, Josh.
Josh does stand-up comedy too. He's
okay.
later this evening, I'm sure. But yeah, this is a grisly one. So this one's priced at $200, lot 17. And let's see, lot 18. This one's just very noir-ish, just fun. I love. Oh
yeah, this is so good.
Yeah, I love even how you get them added there in the last panel there, just down in the lower right. I just love the fact that you kind of play around with perspective, and you're basically making a panel there where one doesn't even exist, just to kind of help the flow of the story. And I think that probably leads the reader really well into the next page. But yeah, the lighting, my gosh, I mean, this is like a textbook example of how to lead the reader's eye across the page to the next one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, there's definitely that kind of that Z pattern. It's almost literally a Z if you look at the
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is where I think, me personally speaking, I think Mike really, really just started like going buck wild on like panel layouts that are incredibly innovative, fun, unique, and but also like very crystal clear in storytelling. I think that you just like busted out something, I don't know.
Well, I try to lean into the strengths, because I draw funny, cartoony, abstract. I'm not always happy with how I draw or whatever. Well, I am, but I'm not. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But like there are things where like I am confident in that aspect, and like so it's good to hear that I'm actually pulling it off.
Yeah, this is from Powers FBI, right?
Yeah, this would be FBI.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
fantastic.
Pinky in there.
And weirdly, my favorite thing is that silhouette of the cop in the middle of the page, like just popping up out of there.
Mm.
Silhouettes can be tricky because sometimes they're easy, sometimes they're not. Sometimes you draw a really good figure and it's better to just black it out, which is surprising. One of the things I like, even on an analog page, when I scan it in, I'll start dropping a black bucket on just on top of things.
Sure.
And sometimes I've completely covered up a page in black where I really like the figure. I did a really good face I'm proud of, and but it'll just look better.
Powers Bureau, not FBI.
Bureau, that's right. Yeah, we couldn't use FBI.
That's right.
Yeah, there was a legal thing about calling it FBI. We had to call it Powers the Bureau, which I couldn't spell for years. I still can't.
But yeah, I was noticing that in a couple of lots earlier where you did something similar, just blocking out the two characters talking, right? Even though it didn't necessarily need it, but it worked really well for the overall layout of the conversation between those two characters.
Yeah, and it's a easy thing to forget to do, because it's so simple. You're always like, well, you want to draw enough for people, but then sometimes just blacking things out or throwing a shadow across somebody's face, even after it's done, like you have to do what's best. It's kind of like an editor editing out. They say, kill your darlings. Like sometimes you have to take things out, even if you like it. It's the same thing with art. You have to,
right.
The better choice is less.
Sure. Well, here's this kind of powerful page. And again, really great storytelling on here with the panel layout, but and what you chose to focus on and not. But this was priced at $300. And tell me about this one. I mean, it's an important scene, but how did you really approach it? Because there's a lot of dramatic lighting throughout it on the figures.
A lot of the dramatic light here is just because I hate drawing cars, and the insides of cars are even harder. But seriously, it is a great scene that Brian wrote. This is Dina when she's undercover with the Powers virus. And there's a thing you could do where you can basically shoot yourself up. So she's shooting her own powers back into her body because she's kind of jonesing off of the virus and stuff. So that was a lot of fun. Drawing that angle underneath from kind of underneath the seat in the second panel. So her face is framed by the steering wheel. Was a lot of fun. And also just a way to not have to draw more of the inside of the car.
You're giving all the secrets away. And you're the perspective just made it easier to draw.
Lean into your strengths. Like I know I'm not good at technical stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't enjoy it even. But if I can cover it in shadow, not to hide it, but to highlight the storytelling. So again, there's this checkerboard pattern here that's very strong on the page that I wish I could accomplish on every page. So restrictions can bring out strengths. My restrictions here is that I'm not great and I don't enjoy drawing technical stuff. So I brought about strengths in the shadows and the composition.
Well, you definitely did.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one's lot 19, $300, and yeah, it's
that was me last week too.
Now we have something a little different in between some other power pages, but this is a prelim.
Yeah.
And I don't know to which cover. I didn't find that, but this one's priced at $150. It's on 10.5 by 14, kind of a heavier sketchbook kind of paper. Not Bond, but somewhere between Bond and Bristol. But
yeah, I think it's like one of those like 90 to maybe 110 pound page paper.
Yeah.
And this was for, God, I forget the volume, but it was where these big superhero gods attack, and there's a giant tidal wave that wipes out the Power City, and it had these big Jack Kirby Sentinel kind of characters, and it's one of the early sketches for it, and it was just fun. Like I kind of wish, I don't know how I could pull it off, but I would love to be able to just draw a story like this, like in this kind of sketchy style. I don't know what would call for that or how it would work, but at least as an experiment, it would be fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just so much more energy in a sketch sometimes than a finished drawing.
Yeah, that it's kind of got a Galactus kind of helmet feel to it.
Oh, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, that's cool. I can't say that we've had a cover prelim from that you've sent our way before.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this one's lot 20, priced at $150. Yeah. Well, we're almost through them all, William. I know a lot of people like to see everything that's available before they make any claims too. So that's fine. We've got 8 more lots to look at, and next up is lot 21. And again, a very nice page, priced at $200. And again, just fun lighting on the faces. You do stuff that just most people wouldn't, have the nerve to try. Putting that, a dark line down someone's face, right down the middle, and as far as a lighting dynamic, but it works so well, man. I mean, it's again, it's just not stuff that you usually see, so it's fun.
Thanks, man. I jokingly refer to this as the dance off. But this is towards the end of the storyline where Dina's powers virus is just taking her to bad places and stuff. And Walker's confronting her, and they're having one of their usual arguments.
Aww.
But a fun page, and I use a lot more pen on this page than I typically do. There was different phases with powers where I go back and forth between using more pen versus using more brush and stuff. But you can see, like, in her jacket and her fist and her pants, there's a lot of like finer line details than big brush lines.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's why I highlighted that one panel. I just thought that was kind of like the highlight of the page.
Yeah. What's interesting is that over the years I've had, whether people are designing a book or they're highlighting art, blow up a panel, and I'm surprised at how well that works. Sometimes a tiny panel blown up, like, for all of its imperfections and everything, it looks much more alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's really neat. Thank you.
Great. Lot 21, $200. Now the next one is priced at $500 from Role Play, and again, this kind of is a more structured panel layout for you with 6 equally sized panels, but again, non-traditional. You don't typically see something like this. So, but again, fun. And I think somebody mentioned earlier, cinematic, just kind of the way that you're choosing to kind of move the viewer's eye throughout this piece.
Thanks.
Yeah. Again, I just think that Mike is really, really good at visual storytelling, even with these panels being equal sized and everything. Like, you understand exactly what, like what he's trying to say, which is like, it's going slowly because it's, it's wide, and it's mostly like mid shot, and like the rhythm of the page is very slow.
Oh, thanks.
And it's and you're not confused. That's my number one thing I look for in a page.
Just clarity.
Even without word balloons, dialogue, or anything, you understand what's going on. That is the most important thing to me, and I always think that Mike is incredibly talented in that way.
Thanks. This is another area where Brian and I come together really well. On my own, I would never draw a 6-panel widescreens like that because it's difficult. But at the same time, once you're involved in that, like I said, that boundaries and limitations can bring out something really good. So a lot of these shots and the composition of the overall page wouldn't have happened if I wasn't forced to draw these. And I say forced in quotes because I can draw them however I want, but I chose to take the challenge on, and it created a really nice composition that otherwise I wouldn't have gotten.
I especially love the hand in the second panel.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
The hand in a foreground.
Yeah, and this is page 6 from I can see the little page up there. This is page 6 from Role Play, which is very early on. I'm guessing the first issue.
Yeah, I think so.
Michael Perlman can address. If not, Scott Hepburn mentions that cropping faces is elite comic artwork. There you go.
I agree 100%. And Orbital Hub agrees. Yes, clarity, and let the readers discern part of the image themselves.
Oh, nice.
100%.
Yeah, something Taki and I talk about a lot is the audience or reader participation. You know, you leave space for the reader to fill in blanks themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
That way they're
Yeah.
part of the storytelling.
yeah, both in the writing and the art.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not everything needs to be explained, not everything needs to be shown.
Yeah. Agreed,
yeah.
100%.
We've got 2 more interiors and then some covers to look at. So this next piece is lot 23, and it's more of a traditional DPS, I guess you could say, because you've got a panel that at least spans both pages. But you know, again, I mean, look at the way you treat his face in that first vignette with the heavy inks and light lines across their face. I mean, it's just different. I mean, you can look at other artists who like to kind of be very noirish, but this is unique in its approach. It's fantastic.
Thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, it's Walker Dina Cross, and I'm forgetting the other big guy's name, but he was like the mayor or district attorney. He was the district attorney in the story. Yes, double page spread. And yeah, really early on. I don't know if this is from role play, but I know this is early on.
Yeah, I'm looking at there isn't a note on this one that I got.
Yeah, it looks like issue 8, page 18 and 19. So I don't know.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah, that's got to be from the 8th issue. That would make sense.
Orbital Hub says, as opposed to the avalanche of detail, you got it. Yes, sometimes less.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you have a few silhouettes in here as well, so you're keeping consistent stylistic from page to page.
Yeah, it's fun and educational looking at some of these older pages because I'm out of touch with them. It's been long enough that I could be fairly objective about it. And there's some tricks. I'm like, yeah, I gotta remember to do that.
The shadows from the blinds.
Yeah, I really like that face.
Yeah, me too.
All right, we'll look at lot 24 next. This one's single page, and it's on a 11 by 17 like everything else, priced at $350. A lot more action and detail on this one than maybe we've seen on a few other ones, but
Yeah.
But it works. It's it seems like you kind of bounce between the need to kind of maybe hide a few things and let the readers figure it out. Other times like this one where you really want to hit them over the face and make sure that they understand what's going on the page. This is a nice one. I love that the panel with him next to the telephone pole. I mean, it's just something fun about that image and the lighting on there that really is cool.
Thanks. I'm laughing because I'm kind of pals with Brian Poston, and at the time, I had done a cover for one of his albums, Nerd Rage.
Okay.
And so like I have Brian Poston poster on the telephone pole that Walker's behind, but I misspelled his name. Because that's me.
Oh, you have an SH. Yeah.
I still spelt it wrong.
I do love that panel though, looking down at Walker and having a pole like in the foreground.
No, thanks.
Yeah, I really love that panel.
Yeah, sometimes when you're doing these big action sequences, and you need that contrast between a really heavy, dark, shadowy noir page that's almost claustrophobic, and then something like this with lots of detail. And
you need the chaos to illustrate the action. Yeah. So that actually makes a lot of sense. And again, it's about storytelling choices that you make that I think is that you really do well.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And maybe everybody felt you misspelled it on purpose so that there wasn't some legal issue.
That's what I used to tell people.
It was all intentional. All right, well, we've got let's see here. Lot 25 next is a Powers cover, book 3.
Oh yeah.
And we have a prelim with this one as well. But yeah, it's so cool, man. This is nice, and I'll show the prelim that came with it too. I think that. Write down the size on that one. I don't think that's 11 by 17, but let me see here. little bit shorter, maybe 11 by 14.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It's probably pulled up from one of my sketchbooks.
Yep. That's what the paper weight feels like. Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's
we
pretty more finished. As a prelim. That's really nice.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, when I have time, I like to make the prelims as tight as possible. Yeah, and this was for one of the big collections, I think from one of the Dark Horse collections. Actually, I don't know. It could be a Marvel collection. I don't pay attention. Anyway, it does have, Super Shock on there and the monkey stuff. So this storyline contains
the monkey stuff.
The monkey stuff.
Okay.
There's a lot of monkey stuff going on.
Oh, monkey business.
Yeah, there's definitely some monkey business going along. So it was fun to take the two different storylines and connect them here into this one cover.
Yeah, I really like Dina's face there so much.
Yeah, and the coloring on that is actually really well done too.
Oh, Nick Filardi, he's always killing it.
Oh yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, Fat Doc, thank you for picking this one up. You get both the finished piece and the prelim.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Also, speaking of Nick Filardi, that reminds me of one of the projects. I'm doing a Batman a 10-pager for like a Valentine's Day special featuring Mr. Freeze, which Jonathan Rivera is writing, and Nick Filardi's coloring it again. And Nick and I had worked together in a little while. So just talking about that reminded me, oh yeah, there was that little Batman project.
So we haven't, again, like so much is going on that,
Yeah.
we forgot to mention that,
Yeah, but Nick is amazing, as you can see.
Mike Perlin says it's the Dark Horse Volume 3 cover. Thank you,
Thank you, Michael Perlman.
Very good. Stingray, friend of the channel, says, I got a letter printed in the monkey stuff issue.
Nice. Oh man, you're
You claim to fame, Stingray. Congrats.
Nice.
That's awesome. That was one of the biggest draws to the book early on was the letter columns, because Brian was just young and snarky, and we had a lot of fun in those early days.
Awesome. Well, this next piece is a cover as well. This is the covers one from Marvel, $1,200 on this one. Just this is an image I think a lot of people remember. But again, you were saying, you've used him in that pose in different times, and it just but it just works. I mean, when you look at it, you know the character, you know the artist. I mean, it's amazing. And it's funny, you were talking about dropping out lines, in that piece we looked at earlier, maybe lot 15 or 16, and I never really noticed, but like the way the logo's printed here, dropping out lines, it's mirroring your art style, even in the logo and everything. I think it's just so smart. I mean, the way the whole book was put together, and from top to bottom, was very thoughtful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, this is like your ultimate like power pose. You can't go wrong, and it's signed by Brian too, so that's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, he signed in this silver pen, which is why I scanned kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I noticed that, but I didn't see it that way on the scan. Interesting. Well, PXPX has picked this one up. Very wise choice. Rob Gray came in, like a half a second behind PXPX. So
wow. Well, thank you, PXPX.
Yeah.
Thank you both of you guys for trying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad again that this will have another good home. It's a like I said, I don't want to call it classic, but it's one of those iconic shots that we just continue to use almost every time we've done a new number one. As you saw on the other cover, the best ever cover as well.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, and I like the
so
spotlight
powerful
thing too. That's always fun to do.
Well, for sure.
Now I do have actually have an interior page. I don't know how I managed to get it out of order, but I think I'm blaming myself for this one. But I have one more Powers interior here. This Dina's image, yes. And again, looks a little bit of pen in this one, and a little bit of brush too.
Yeah, yeah. This was fun. This was Dina had. This is part of the virus storyline, Powers virus storyline. And she's being stalked by her boyfriend, who we only saw a couple times, who I drew as myself at the time, or as close as I could get. And she kills him. But he did stab her in the back with a knife.
Like literally.
Yeah. Literally stabbed her in the back.
And then it was fun to just draw her reaching back and pulling the knife out. Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
That had to have hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I'm feeling the pain now.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, when I'm thinking about someone pulling the knife out, they're not pulling it out straight out. You know, she has a bad angle on it.
Oh God. Ugh.
And again, it was fun as far as, you know, the silhouettes and framing faces with silhouettes and panels and stuff.
You know, I had a spinal tap once.
Yeah.
And I kind of figure like.
You feel her in this moment?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel her.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting the shakes over here. Oh man, well, we have one more lot to look at, lot 28, and this is a cover. I think it's the BPRD image that we've been talking about. So nice. And again, and colored really well again. I mean, it's you've been really fortunate to work with some great colorists.
Yeah, this one's Dave Stewart. What a dream to be colored by Dave.
I know, he is one of the best.
Yeah, and I mean, Hellboy was just so fun, and I was really happy with this one. I'm really critical about the way I draw Hellboy, and this is probably the best I've ever drawn. And then the storyline here takes place. The Golden Crane is sort of like the BPRD extension that goes back to ancient China, and Su Zhao is investigating that, and it's just time traveling back and forth. So there's a lot of fun stuff to draw. In fact, the last issue of this, I'm working on it now, and I just finished the cover, and I had 2 different covers that I liked, and I just decided to draw them both because I was just having so much fun with it and wanted it to be perfect. So yeah, really happy with this. Really gotten into this character. Chris's story is great. When you pick this up, if you're just a casual Hellboy fan, you don't need to know like tons of the BPRD history or anything like that to get into it. So I was really happy with it.
Well, it's a beautiful piece. I've been admiring it since I opened it up. Package. I waited. I didn't open everything up until yesterday. Well, no, it was Thursday. I did it Thursday night. And but this piece is spectacular. So.
And I had to do like a photo reference for Mike for that crane in the background.
Oh, really?
Why are you laughing?
She does look like a bird.
No, I'm not even going
to do this, Taki.
Well, thank you, Josh Flanders. I left his claim up on the screen for everybody to be reminded that Josh got that one. Thank you so much, Josh.
Oh, wow. Thank you, Josh. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Josh.
You got lots of nice homes for this piece.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, that's a great piece.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Yeah.
I almost didn't want to sell it. I was gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a little surprised that that went into the pile. Same things like that best ever cover too. Like I think last few times I asked him like, do you want to put that in there? And he's just like, I'm not ready.
Well, let's go ahead and I'll run through everything pretty quick because we have a lot of pieces that haven't sold, but they're going to go up on CAF once the show is over. So anybody that's interested in the pieces can email me, bill@comicartfans.com. Anybody that claimed pieces today, obviously email me after the show and we'll arrange payment and get these things shipped out right away next week. And again, so let me run through these. Go back to the top here. We had we had a pair of Young Justice pages to kind of get things started. So this one was priced $350 lot 1, and then and that's what I don't want to forget to mention. We do get the prelim with lot 1 as well, both on 11x17. Lot 2 from Young Justice, $400. Great panel layouts on this one, and really well done action sequence. And on this one as well, you get the 11x17 prelim too. Then we had the cover to Victories number 20, all Michael creation here, and just a really great image on the cover. This one's priced $800. We had that Spirit page priced at $850, and it came with a prelim that I forgot to show originally, but here it is, and that's on 11x17 as well. We have the Murder Inc. page, which is lot 5 at $300, and we have the pair of Young Justice study pieces because you get the inked version and the pencil version on both of these, 11x17. We had lot 7 was sold to Mike, so we have lot 8 next. That was the amazing wraparound powers cover from the best ever. It's 17 by 22 on 2 boards taped together, priced at $2,500, and an absolute masterpiece for anybody who's a fan of Michael's work or powers in general. Obviously, a very important piece to the whole series. So that one's out there, and yeah, love, not lobe. You love lot 8. We know what you meant, Michael. Then we had the that darkness sketch that was for a cover. That this one was for priced at $100. Lot 9 on 8.5 by 11. Lot 10 did sell, as did 11. So lot 12 was 2 pages from Powers interrogation scene, priced at $500. I mean, what a steal! 2 pages, 250 each, basically, all on one 11 by 17 board for $500. Then we have that drug house scene, which was follow up to actual page 15, but our lot 15. But we have lot 13 here, priced at $400 on 11 by 17.
Somebody's asking, are the prelims signed?
I am not sure.
I think I signed everything.
Let's see. I know the cover that we looked at that we just sold was it had a prelim is signed. Let me see here.
Mike is pretty sure he signed all of them, prelims included.
Yes, I'm looking at lot 1, both and lot 2. The prelims are signed. The Spirit prelim is signed. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're all signed. They should be signed at least.
Yeah, you might have scanned them before they were signed and shipped to me potentially. But
Right.
Yeah. I think I signed the last second. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, even like the darkness prelim is signed. Yes, definitely.
Excellent.
Sorry, I should have. I didn't notice they weren't signed in the scans that I got.
Oh.
But there we go.
Well, thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you, Ilya. All right, so lot 13 at $400. We have lot 14, just an amazing page, priced at $500. Then we have lot 15, which is kind of the page prior to lot 13. This is DPS, priced at $500. And let's see, lot 16 was priced at $200. We have 17 with the That Will Leave a Mark. Thank you, Josh Flanders. And lot 17 priced at $200. Lot 18 was a great crime scene image. Oh, and Rob Gray has claimed lot 8. Thank you, Rob.
Hey, thank you.
Wow, you really have picked up an amazing piece. It's something that
I'm literally
This
Thank
one,
you.
you want to see that one on the wall. I mean, it really is fantastic.
Yeah, I think the contrast would make that one look nice on the wall because it'd be really easy to see with all that contrast.
Yeah, I agree. Well,
Hey Rob, if you get that framed, please send us a photo.
yeah, I would love to see how it winds up as well. So thank you, Rob. You got a great one there. So this one was again lot 18 at $300 from Powers crime scene. Lot 19 was that scene from the car without much of the car in it, priced at $300.
How to Not Draw Cars by Michael Oeming.
Exactly. Then we have the cover prelim here, lot number 20 for $150. We also have this page from it's a lot 21 with Walker and Dina. You called it the dance-off scene, but priced at $200 on this one.
Everybody dance.
Oh man! And then lot 22 priced at $500. We have lot 23, which is a traditional DPS on 111 by 17 board. I didn't put the space in there between the words Powers and Walker, but everybody knew what I meant. That's $300. Lot 24 still available. This one is the outdoor kind of battle scene, priced at $350. And last but not least was that the backstabbing scene, and well, it's more than that, and the killing scene, I guess. But it priced at $700 on this one with Dina putting the knife to good use.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so those ones are available. I will put them up on CAF once we're done here. everybody who's claimed artwork, please email me, bill@comicartfans.com, with your contact information. Give me your mailing address when you do that too. Just helps me kind of have everything ready to put together an invoice and talk about how we'll get the payments taken care of. But Taki, Michael, as always, it's fun, man. We only get to do these like every 6 months, but it's always a joy getting to hang out with you both.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Thank you for having us. It's always really, really fun.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. Again, everybody on the stream, even if you just came to listen, just thank you for supporting our work. You know, we literally can't do this without you. Most of my work isn't work for hire stuff, you know, so like you guys supporting me means everything. Every page that I do and every book that I get to put out, I know it's because I have your support. So thank you.
And Fat Duck just claimed lot 14 as well. So I thank you for that as well. And again, anybody who's seeing the show afterwards, you can email me about anything that didn't sell. We can, I'll let you know if it's still available. But again, you know, hit me up if there's ever anything I can promote for you, both of you. Yeah,
sure.
Please do that.
Yeah, we've always got stuff coming up. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I also threw my newsletter link in the chat as well. That's a good way to just not miss stuff, because I'll forget to mention like, oh yeah, Batman.
True. And I'm going to be looking for that Mike and Mike poster as soon as we're done here. But again, thank you. And, you know, have a wonderful weekend. And everybody, thank you for tuning into the show too. It's always a lot of fun, and we appreciate you taking time out on a Saturday afternoon to hang out with us.
Yeah.
You know, we'll see you again soon, but enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Great. Thanks.